it like it's hot.
A tunnel connecting another dimension with our world. Gate. And the habitat of the monsters, the dungeons. Our hero in a large crowd of people in his thoughts, he thinks it looks like the hunters will arrive soon. Those who hunt monsters are called hunters. At the moment, they are fighting evil spirits in the dungeon, and in moments they prevail over them. My name is Sung Jin-Woo and I'm a hunter, he says. Let's try today, but unfortunately I'm a hunter who hunts in the simplest dungeons. I'm hunters of E rank. A girl runs up to him and provides first aid with her magic power. You got hurt again. The world's weakest hunter, he reflects. If I want to pay my mother's medical bills, I can't just give up. However, the most difficult dungeon was hidden in the D-rank dungeon called Double Lair. Our sword-wielding hero says to himself, hell, in the end I couldn't escape death. However, when I was disappearing, I woke up in the hospital and saw notifications. Received a daily task. Accept a task? The menu item was detailed. Prepare to get stronger. Daily challenge: failed push-up 100. Failed simply failed squat 100. Failed 10K run. Failure to complete a daily quest will result in a quest-related penalty. From what he saw, he was at a loss that he said it. After that day, I received a new skill. A window popped up, tasks that only I can see. If I train according to my knowledge and hunt monsters, my level will increase at a very high speed. And then he said, well, let's go, took his wedges in his hands and purposefully rushed to the side where the dragon was. And with one stroke of his hand, he defeated him. You have one notification level up. The path from the weakest hunter in the world to the strongest hunter S rank. My name is Sung Jin-Woo wielding a blade. I am an E rank hunter from the Hunters Association. The weakest hunter of the lowest rank. Mentally, he says to himself, I never thought that this would happen to me ever. Surrounded by enemies, he holds on to the last of his strength. And then a terrible monster swings at him with a spear. Damn it. And here we smoothly move on to Seoul, South Korea's Sung Jin-Woo E rank. If you do not pay attention to my slightly abnormal strength and regeneration, I even become ashamed to call myself a hunter. Naturally, I always get injured and have been on the verge of death more than once. Hunter is a job where your life is at stake. I don't do it because I enjoy doing it. At a construction site in Seoul, what the Hunters Association pays me is barely enough to pay my mother's medical bills. For an ordinary person with no special talents, I had no choice but to become a hunter. Here you are, picking up a glass of excellent coffee from a morning working day. Hey Kim, long time no see, waved his hand affably. Wait, Buck? What did you forget here? Didn't you leave because you didn't want to be a hunter anymore? Well, my wife is pregnant with our second son, haha. Really, Raid is the best place to make a fortune. It's not an easy life for us. Something I'm worried it was so long ago that I must have lost all my form. My skills weren't good enough, and after the break my skills deteriorated. You came, son. Thanks for coming. It's cold today, right? Haha, no big deal. He replied, yo son, you've already eaten. Yes, thank you for worrying about me, Mr. Kim Sang-shik. This guy is so strong, everyone is so happy that he came. You don't know because he came right after he left. His nickname, the weakest hunter in the world. The weakest hunter in the world? Not the strongest, bro. Only S-rank hunter Sung Jin can be called the weakest in the world. I mean, he is so weak that he can get injured even in an E-rank dungeon. Is he really that weak? Yes, he is probably the weakest of us all. Is he really that weak? Since he came, then our dungeon will be simple. And now I understand. Hey, he can hear us saying they're behind, son. But he already heard everything, old farts. He goes to a coffee shop. Hello, a cup of coffee, please. Oh sorry, Hunter Sung Jin-Woo, coffee just ended, and thought he left even without coffee, sucks. Buddy, I'm sorry, in pursuit, said the seller. Nothing is all right, Jin-Woo. You're hurt again. Oh, hello, it looks like Miss Ju-hee is also going on this raid. Certainly. But it's not that. How did you manage to hurt your face this time? Well, I don't know, it just happened that way while I was hunting. Yes, I hunted seriously. What actually happened? You even went to the hospital. Yeah, we were in E-rank dungeon, and I was the only one who got hurt. And how could this happen? Everyone else was higher rank, so they didn't even bring a healer with them. Even if they didn't really bring a healer with them just because they were safe themselves. It's okay, the thing is that I'm weak, I'm used to it. Ms. Ju-hee also knows this, doesn't she? Well, it looks like everyone is getting ready to enter the gate. I think it's time for us. Good. Guys, it's time to have a good hunt. Although I'm not very suitable for this, but I would like to become the leader of this raid, you don't mind. Mr. Sleep, your rank is the highest among us all, so I don't mind. Well, if it's Mr. Sleep, you have the highest rank here. I don't think that anyone will be against it. I think if the ego is Mr. Dream, we can trust him. It has been a long time since I witnessed his power. Take good care of us, Mr. Song Chi-yo. Well, then we go into the dungeon. Forward, Mr. Sleep, try not to hurt yourself behind us. Well, let's go as you say. Today I will give it my all. Jin-Woo, why do you strive so hard to be a hunter, said while holding his hands on a large luminous ball. These battles are quite risky, said the medical girl. At that moment he answered her. Sorry. And she told him, I'm not saying this to make you apologize, I'm just worried about you. And while they were talking, the others fought the enemies in the dungeon and defeated them. It was very difficult, but they survived. And the medic girl tells him at least this raid is almost over. But Sung Jin-Woo was a little worried. The other hunters were talking next to each other. It looks like the deed is done. Mr. Bug, how are you not dead yet? It wasn't that difficult. Well, our main character doesn't finish something and he is very worried. Jin-Woo, you have a reason. Continue to be a hunter. He smiles. I hunt just for fun. If I stop doing this, I'll die of boredom. If I tell her about my reasons, I will be even more embarrassed. The doctor girl answers, it looks like this fawn has almost sent you to the next world twice already. And Jin-Woo laughs. She answers him, don't laugh, otherwise yours will open early. And the leader of this team tells his people magic crystals are what you get by killing monsters. A magic crystal, even from a C-rank monster, is worth thousands. However, since Jin-Woo was an E-rank hunter, there was no way for him to kill a C-rank monster. An E-grade magic crystal. Considering that I risked my life to earn it, it's too little for me to earn money in this way. The team saw another pass. Everyone crowded in front of him. Online double layer, said the leader. It looks like what it really is. Accumulating magic in one palm, concentrating the spherical circle, he launched it in the direction where the passage was. He lit up the tunnel in the distance and saw how big it was. He said, everyone, listen to me, if the boss is still alive, then the gates will not close. Since the gate is still open, which means the boss is somewhere inside. According to the rules, we need to contact the Hunters Association and wait for their order, but if the hunter gets to the boss first, our profit will decrease significantly. So I suggest we all go together and kill the boss. We all vote. And no complaints. After the announcement of the results of the vote cleared up, said the leader of this team, are you ready to fight? Said people in the crowd. No. I'm going to continue. And I'm against it. Let's fight. The nurse said, I'm sorry, but I don't want to go any further. And the leader counts the votes until 8 by 8, yes? What do you say, Mr. Sun? Holding a crystal in his hand, he says, I don't have enough money, and I will soon have to send my little sister to college, and my mother is sick. For my family, I'm going. He shouted for everyone to hear, let's do it again. They enter the tunnel in a crowd and say, have we gone too far? How long? We have been walking for about 40 minutes, someone answered him. The gate closes an hour after killing the boss, so we have at least 20 minutes left. Walking next to the girl medic, he apologizes to her. She answers, what are you talking about? Because I voted for, everyone had to go, because his vote was decisive. She says, I'm fine. You don't have to worry about me. He answers her. You're definitely fine. Very worried about you. She was very angry at that moment. Honestly, I'm not at all okay. She is very angry with him and tells him, are you completely crazy? If you had been hit a little higher then, you would be lying somewhere with a hole in your chest now. Not to mention your arms and legs. I cured them with great difficulty. What made you vote for? You hit your head probably. He sighs and says, I'm sorry, and really I lived only because Ju-hee is a B-rank healer. I'm in her debt again. You're sorry, she answers him. Yes, very much, because I disappointed you, and then she calmed down a little. If you're really sorry, then how about treat me with something? Our hero is at a loss. What? She tells him that you don't want to have dinner with me, or that no, of course no, I want more. Here the whole group approach the gate to the main boss. I have never seen a kunduz with such a door before. What is wrong here? Listen, isn't this place dangerous? Says the man in the crowd. You are going to come back empty-handed after what happened to you. The leader of the whole group, opening these big doors, says we can be the first to enter this dungeon. Everyone who does not want to go further can return. If I have to, I'll go alone. Well, Mr. Song's ability is unbelievable. He possesses extremely aggressive powers even among C-rank hunters. This old man, if he wasn't under 60, he could join any major guild. And we could only get here thanks to Mr. Song. Let's follow him to the end. Opens mighty door, opened easier than I thought, he said forward. In the room, the blue flames of lights ignite, the torches lit up. They answered well. I've never seen a dungeon like this before. Let's split up and explore the area. Looks like it was not answered by someone in the crowd. These mighty statues, well, horror. Each one has a different item in their hand. There are even musical instruments. Here our protagonist answered a little. It seems to me alone that someone is watching us. Don't pump it up, someone told him. Wow, look at this statue. She's huge. It's not the boss, is it? I don't think it's just a statue. It stood in the center of the room, and it was the largest among all the statues that were there. Song replied, she is the only huge one. Someone is talking in the crowd. There's nothing here that looks like a monster, and I really don't see anything like that. And the leader looked at her feet and saw some kind of magical seal. Mr. Song. One of the statues held a runic text in an ancient language. Let's look at the commandments of the Kartanon Temple. First, worship the Lord. Second, praise the Lord. Hey Jin-Woo. It's a huge statue, answered the mythic girl. Third, prove our faith. Her eyes were just moving, she was looking at us. It can't be. Maybe you thought. Stop that. This feeling became so quiet and cold for a moment. The leader is reading these commandments and says someone who doesn't keep the commandments and can never come back alive. The whole group was dumbfounded on the spot that the door had just closed. Someone says, what are we going to do now? Damn, I can't stay here anymore. You are all talking nonsense. Coming here was a mistake. I'm leaving, treasure boss. Anything can take anything you want. Good luck. And he headed for the closed door. The leader shouted after him, stop, don't touch the handle, but it was too late to take the handle by. The statue came to life and destroyed it in the blink of an eye. Everyone was horrified. This thing is moving, we need to fight them. Jin-Woo was horrified. The largest statue's eyes began to move, and they might have to fight it. Fight with these statues? What rank was the guy who just died from that statue? D rank. Even if he was considered weak, he was still stronger than an E rank like me. But with one hit it is unrealistic. Wait, this dungeon is max D rank. I have never heard that monsters are so strong in D rank dungeons. The leader of this group says, if all the statues are able to move, don't tell me even the biggest one. Jin-Woo looked at her and she looked at him. This is not the first time I find myself on the verge of death. During my first raid, I stayed away from the group and got lost. And somehow he got hurt in the back by an E-rank monster and was lured. He was for a few weeks. I even nearly died of starvation when I got trapped in a dungeon, even though all these dungeons were low rank, but I always left my life on the line. And other hunters traded magic cores for better equipment to hunt stronger monsters, to eventually get more treasures in the lands. But he replies they can do that. He is always unequipped. Buying a cheap ball does nothing, it breaks quickly, and having a healer means that all wounds will be healed, as long as they are not very severe. Walking down the street, our main character hears all sorts of unpleasant words from behind. This brat is hurt again, even in the simplest E-rank dungeons? Sorry for the healers who go with him to the raid. You knew? The other day he was called the weakest hunter in the world. Even if he is a hunter, he is still useless. Our hero is sitting on a bench and looking at his shoes and thoughtfully talking to himself. Tor again. After all, he doesn't care what they say behind his back. He has only one goal: to become the strongest. So his all subsequent days, when I went out injured, simply ignored these unpleasant remarks and continued to do his work, which in the end will lead me to death. can get out, that's why. I understand everything very well. Looking at the eyes of the stats, he shouted to everyone, all bend down. Everyone was at a loss what he was saying, and at the same moment, a huge magical power escaped from the eyes of the statue almost earlier in our hero, but they managed to duck down and, to their happiness, everything was in order with them. Everyone around was horrified. Are you okay? Yes, and you're fine. But few people still died from this attack of the statue. I barely got back. If Sun hadn't warned me, I wouldn't have made it. We would have been erased if he had not warned us. Miss Juhi, the leader of this group, yelled, don't get up, everyone stay where you are. If you get up, she will attack us. Mr. Song, you're okay. Miss Juhi can't handle her fear. Therefore, at least she only goes to simple ones. They repaired it despite the fact that she is a B-rank healer. But this doesn't seem like a simple quest to me. Only those who remained standing died. Everyone who listened to you survived. Wait. Didn't you scream because you knew what was going to happen? No, I just sensed danger. Mr. Your hand, he cried. I'll be fine, just help me stop the bleeding. Can you do it? He tried to help the leader by bandaging his wound. Son, what rank do you think this place is? I have no idea. And I've never gone to a higher than D-rank dungeon. I've only been to a B-rank dungeon a couple of times. I can definitely say that this place is many times superior to a B-rank dungeon. Even there were no monsters of this level. It's an A rank, maybe even an S rank. What were the commandments at the Cardanon Temple? First, bow to the Lord. Second, praise the Lord. Third, prove your faith. He who does not keep the Zapo will never be able to. It was written on that slab. Sir Sleep Lord. I think you think it's him on the big statue sitting on the throne. Even if we could kill them all, it would still take too long. The gate is a tunnel that connects the alien world with ours. 10 years ago, after the appearance of the gate, a lot of strange things happened to the world. One of the examples is hunters, and their strength has not changed in any way since awakening. I also became one of the hunters. On my strength was only enough for E rank. I am stronger than many people, but the difference between me and others in rank was huge. And those who received the power to pass through the gate and fight monsters also made a career out of it. They are called hunters. They fought the monsters on the other side of the gate. Sometimes behind the gates it can be ominous, from huge monsters that have come from nowhere. Will you be all right? The bleeding does not stop. He tells him in response, is there anything we can do about it? I took only 3 healers with me, and I thought that it would be much faster. However, they killed him so brutally that there was not even anything left of him. The second fell in shock and now behaves as if he had lost his mind, and he kept repeating himself, I want to live, save me. Even the healer Juhi had probably never experienced this. As you can see, getting treatment in this situation will be problematic even for me. I think we'd better just stand smeared in front of people like this statue. When the situation is a bit, I try to run, I warn you. It won't be that easy. It's just a D-rank dungeon, they said desperately, sitting on the floor. As Mr. Sung Jin-Woo said, we will be attacked if we move. Even if we can somehow get around this, for sure. Most likely he won't let us leave here. I don't want to die like this. I finally joined a big guild, so I can't die here. I need to do something about it. What are you doing? Do not move, shouted the main troop. I can do it. Look at me. If there's one thing I'm sure of, it's my speed. I run through the door in a moment and no one can see. He gathered all his strength and tried to make a strong jerk, and he was already almost at the door, but the statue saw this and the whole group what will happen to him and unfortunately attacked him, incinerated him with her gaze. Everyone was horrified by what they saw. No one could move. Someone shouted, damn, these sharps can kill us whenever they want, right? For them it's easier than ever. After all, they have a higher rank than we do. They can destroy us all in a blink of an eye. And I don't know, then why don't they do it? They don't kill even if they can. It is different from monsters, which attack hunters without hesitation as soon as they see them. The statue of the guard will attack anyone who approaches the door. A huge remnant that beams out anyone who moves. Their attacks are of order. Order? This can't be. This room has its own rules. By looking at the statue with the rules of the commandment of the Cardanon Temple. That's exactly it. He cried. Mr. Song, what was the first commandment? The commandment he exclaimed first was worship the Lord. Lord means a big statue in the middle of the hall. Sir, this dungeon has its own rules. What are you thinking, kid? If I'm right, then you need to follow these rules. Are you crazy? These are the eyes of a man who does not regret dying. It does not attack those who move.